It's pretty safe to say we've seen more rapid transformations in our world in the last few decades than we have ever. These changes, of course, contribute to easing people's lives in general, but at the same time lead to a widening generational gap. But what are these transformations? Well, that's what we're examining today. Here are 15 differences that show how much the world has changed in the last 50 years. Number 1. Remote work. Even if we weren't prepared for the pandemic's work-from-home requirements, the truth is a lot of people would rather avoid a physical return to the office. Not only is it possible to now work from home, but from anywhere. You're no longer limited to working for companies close by, and instead are able to work on teams on the other side of the world. In the past, this was just a freelancer's game. Now, anyone with a laptop and reliable internet can do it. The trick is finding a healthy for you balance between work and personal lives. Number 2. Everyone owns a smartphone. This not only means we are connected 24/7 and can access pretty much any information we need at any time, but it's also become easier to be connected and stay connected with people we love. Not to mention social media platforms allowing us to network, which is especially important for people who own businesses. It's also a way we've learned to express our individuality. Sometimes, though, it's important to take a few breaks as a reminder to enjoy life beyond all the screens. Number 3. Traveling is cheaper. 50 years ago, traveling abroad was a luxury experience not everyone could afford, unless you were going to war. But now, traveling abroad for leisure is cheaper than ever. For example, if you live in Europe, you can casually go on a 7-day trip to Mexico while paying around €1,500 for plane tickets and accommodations. There's also a lot of mini getaways offered on travel markets that just about everyone can afford occasionally with a little saving and planning. Usually the only thing holding people back is getting some time off to go. Number 4. Online shopping. The fact we can now order a lot of things from online, like groceries, clothes, even cars, saves us a lot of time to spend with our loved ones and work on our side projects. Since the pandemic, online shopping increased 52% in the UK alone, and experts agree the pandemic has changed shopping habits forever. But this can be problematic for some people. Working from home has opened up more online shopping opportunities for people, leading some to spend more in a day than they earn. Number 5. We have infinite resources for knowledge. If 50 years ago you woke up and decided you wanted to learn another language, you'd have to go out in search of someone already fluent who could teach you. You'd have to buy books and arrange meetups to practice several times a month, and sure, you could still do it that way if you wish, but things have become a lot more streamlined. These days, all you need is 10 minutes with your smartphone every day to play learning games over your morning coffee on apps like Duolingo. Not to mention the myriad of online learning courses available to you, like the ones that we've carefully crafted for our community of Aluxers. You can learn more about our educational offerings by going to alux.com/courses. Number 6. Home phones are basically obsolete. We bet you remember the home phone at your parents' house and the adrenaline you got when it started to ring. Who would it be? Is it for you? Better run and answer it first to find out. And the drama when nobody answered it and you didn't know who was trying to reach you, especially if you weren't expecting a call. But today, with practically everyone and their dog having a smartphone, there's not much of a need to have a hardwired landline to talk on the phone. And be honest, you hardly ever answer calls anymore anyway. Number 7. College degrees no longer guarantee success. If 50 years ago you needed a college degree to start and successfully run a business, now all you need is a laptop, internet access, and a strong drive to make it. On one hand, this is because more people have access to the internet than higher education, and on the other hand, society has begun to value skills over degrees. If you've got the skills and the drive, what's on paper matters less. And while specialized jobs like doctors and lawyers will always need formal schooling, almost everything else can be learned as you go. Number 8. Birth control is more affordable and easier to access. What was once a major controversy everywhere is now only controversial to some. In the last 50 years, women's rights to bodily autonomy have improved greatly, and while still not perfect, easy access to birth control has allowed the status of women to be raised straight across the board. Women being able to avoid unwanted pregnancies allows them to pursue their dreams, complete their studies, and go on to have successful lives on their own terms, enriching society overall. Number 9. Exercising has become part of our lifestyle. 50 years ago, exercise wasn't something you added to your routine, it was already built in. The number of people working manual labor jobs and walking everywhere they went was much greater than it is today. But now, exercising has become a culture and a multi-million-dollar industry, partly because we're more sedentary these days and need the movement, but also because we have more knowledge on how and why dedicated movement is vital for our overall health. Either we stretch for 10 minutes in the morning or hit the gym and work out like beasts every evening, the benefits can be easily seen and felt over time. No wonder all successful people have some form of workout routine. Number 10. Jobs aren't the same anymore. If you're, let's say, a professional gamer, content creator, or even an advertiser, you know all too well how difficult it can be to explain to your grandparents what you do for a living. As the world transforms, so too does the job market and its requirements. The trick is to not see this as a threat, but to adapt and seize the opportunity. Opportunities like the ones we covered in our video, 15 of the highest paying remote jobs for 2021, which you can check out by clicking in the top right corner. Number 11. Our global population. In the 1970s, there were about 3.7 billion people on Earth. During the past 50 years, the Earth's population increased by about 1.05% per year, reaching 7.5 billion by 2020. Researchers forecast that by 2050, the global population will reach about 9.8 billion and upwards of 11 billion by the turn of the century. With advancements in medical sciences as well as agriculture, it seems our biggest hurdle here isn't the number of people, but instead a poor distribution system of supplies. And I guess we'll see what kinds of solutions all of these extra people can come up with in the future. Number 12. Traveling by air isn't just for the wealthy. Decades ago, people would mainly only travel by ground or by sea. Traveling by air was a little too far out of reach for many. But nowadays, it's no longer a luxury, unless you're flying first class, of course. But if you plan your travels in advance and have some friends to split the costs with, you can easily get your plane tickets for less than €15 round trip. But that's in Europe. Flights in North America remain quite high, with only a few airline operators working together to keep rates favorable for them, not necessarily for travelers. Number 13. It's easy for everyone to become a celebrity. And you don't even need a special talent for it. Again, just a phone, a social media account, and some relatable content should do. There's always an easy path where you just associate yourself with a celebrity or an influencer, and to be honest, in this case, being pretty is often enough. Getting into a scandal also works well, but we're not promoting that one. The hard but rewarding way is to struggle to grow a community and keep them engaged, and that's a real challenge, but also a sure path to progress and eventually success. Number 14. We stream everything. Imagine getting a TV guide in the mail every week and having to sift through and find out when your favorite show will air, mark it down on a calendar, and pray you don't miss it because you only get one shot to watch. Yeah. That was real life 50 years ago. Nowadays, we have so many streaming services and we can binge watch a whole season of Sex and the City during our day off on our cozy couch with a bowl of popcorn. And while you're traveling, it's just a case of downloading a few episodes in advance to watch on the move. So needless to say, Alexers, we're pretty spoiled when it comes to on-demand content. Number 15. Recycling. In the last 50 years, we've developed ways to recycle plastic and other materials in all possible forms, creating furniture, clothing, and shoes, and making art out of it. That's hella cool! An entire culture has been created around reducing waste and creatively repurposing it, not to mention all the new green products that have been developed, like biodegradable bags and water bottles. Sure, there's a lot more we can do, and we will, but we've made some solid improvements here in the last 50 years. And on that note, Alex, sir, we're at the end, but we're curious to know, what do you think will be the most striking changes in the next 50 years? We can't wait to see your answers on this one, so please join the conversation in the comments. And as a reward for sticking with us until the very end, you know there's a bonus waiting for you. One more big change in the last 50 years. Number 16. No one smokes indoors anymore. Here's a big change you might not consider until someone mentions it. All you have to do to see it is to watch an older movie. Practically everyone is smoking indoors. If you're a millennial, chances are you even remember when places like restaurants and shopping malls had smoking sections, which were really nothing more than a sectioned off area. There was nothing containing the smoke in that space. Over the years, almost every country in the world has banned this by law, improving the health of many non-smokers, not to mention the health of children.